to roll. Welcome, family and friends, to another episode of the Reimagine You Lab podcast. I am MG, and you know that it is Friday, so we've got Dr. Joyce Moore with us here. How are you, Dr. Joyce?
I'm blessed. Thank you so much for inviting me back to your program.
Oh, absolutely, Dr. Joyce. We can't stop now. We got to keep on going. Keep on going. Now, Dr. Joyce, you have an amazing topic for us to talk about today that most people probably wouldn't expect. And so you want to tell them a little bit about what we're teeing up for and what we're talking about today?
Well, we're talking about electromagnetic frequencies, and it's frequently known as EMF, and S means frequencies, so plural. But whenever you see EMF, just know that you're talking about electromagnetic frequencies that these wireless devices, cell phones, produce. And so today we're going to be learning more about the EMFs and the hidden harms that it does to the body as well as the mind.
Oh, goodness. Okay, this is going to be a good one. Well, I am ready to dive in. So, as you all know, we always like to start with a bit of a disclaimer because the information that's being presented is for what, Dr. Joyce?
Well, it's for educational and inspirational purposes only, and it's not to make a diagnosis or to treat any disease or disorder. What I would recommend is that you do consult your friendly health provider, and most importantly, seek the great physician, Jesus Christ. And also, from this particular series that we're going to be talking about, EMF, electromagnetic frequencies, it can be found in the book Purple Mind Shield of Protection. And this book is an amazing book. The co-author is a naturopathic doctor by the name of Dr. Aisha Chilcote. And so together we came up with this shield of protection that provides protection for the spirit, the soul, and the body. And electromagnetic frequencies is one of the topics that is discussed in this book. So I recommend that the viewers go to purplemindbook.com or amazon.com to purchase this book.
Yeah, this book is a lot of good stuff in there, you all. So, Dr. Joyce, as you teed this up, electromagnetic frequencies, and we're talking about your cellular devices. Most of the time, no one will really think that, hey, what's wrong with my cellular device? Having it, I know I might spend more time on it than I need to, but what is also happening that we don't see? It's the things that we don't see that sometimes can be a little harmful.
Oh, exactly. And so when we're talking about wireless devices, we're talking about cell phones. So it's amazing how they always give us a clue. Cell phone causes cell damage. So if you link those two together, all of the wireless devices can cause cell damage if we don't keep it away from our bodies and if we don't cut down on the time. So we're looking at distance and time to prevent harm.
Okay. All right, Dr. Joyce.
Okay, so we're going to recognize the cell phones, electromagnetic frequencies, frequently referred to as EMFs, hidden harms to the body and mind.
Ooh, okay. Okay. Let's get into it.
Okay. I think we are, Miss Michelle, I think we have the wrong slides up.
Okay, let me go out. All right, Dr. Joyce, I think we cooking with grease now. We got the correct information that we want to share. So you were talking about electromagnetic frequencies and kind of getting us started with knowing what this is exactly.
Exactly. So electromagnetic frequency is composed of two components. And as you can see in that word, an electric field and a magnetic field. An electric field naturally generates an magnetic field around it. And this is called an electromagnetic frequency, EMF. The oscillation, the oscillation, I'm having problems.
Oscillation. The oscillation.
Thank you. The oscillations, the swinging to and fro of the electric and magnetic fields are the basics of the electromagnetic wave or the electromagnetic frequency. So frequency of an electromagnetic wave refers to how many times the electric and magnetic fields oscillate through a fixed point per second.
Okay.
Frequency is measured in the units called hertz. And this name is after Heinrich Hertz, a 19th century German physicist.
Okay. All right. So we've got these oscillating magnetic and electric and magnetic fields that are waves essentially.
Yes.
That oscillate through fixed points per second. Okay, so I'm just getting myself in this map frame.
Yeah,
I just see what's happening right now.
That's
Okay.
what it is.
Okay.
So when we're looking at electromagnetic frequencies, the thing that we want to remember is that both the earth and the human body generate both electric and magnetic fields.
Okay.
So the earth and the human body has a natural magnetic field, and these are direct current electricity. So DC means direct current electricity that both the earth and the body have. These are natural electromagnetic fields produced by both the earth and the body. And you remember that God made man from the dust of the earth. In the late 19th century, electricity was initially distributed to the public using polarized DC, direct current electricity in the US. And this was in the range of around 50 or 60 hertz.
Okay.
And this was used in the 19th century electric wiring. So DC, direct current electricity in the earth flows in one direction. So this flows in one direction, it's non-pulsed, and it flows in the human body nervous system. It flows through the nervous system in one direction, and it usually is passing through the nervous system synapses. Now, these are the little synapses connect one nerve to the other so cells can talk to one another or give signals to one another. And this is done through electricity, through the direct current in the human body. And remember, this is the same current that flows through the earth. This goes in one direction. It's non-pulsed.
Okay.
And so we also see this in the sodium-potassium pump in our cells. It's essentially a battery that produces direct current, DC electricity. In other words, it's going in one direction through the body. It's non-pulsed, just one direction through the body, DC direct current.
Okay.
So we have a wide spectrum of frequencies now, from low to high. So in the last, let's say 170 years, there has been created a wide spectrum of frequencies. So remember what we said, it started out low. This direct current started low, 50 to 60 hertz. and then it graduated, or man eventually
Yes.
moved up to 1,000 hertz, which is also referred to as a kilohertz, KHZ.
Mhm.
1 million, excuse me, with an M, hertz, a megahertz. That's M hertz. And then
Mhm.
1 billion hertz. That's a gigahertz or G hertz, or what we're seeing today within the cell phones, 5G, which means 1 billion of these waves oscillating through a fixed point per second.
Wow. Okay.
And
Okay. So are you guys tuning in now? Listen, a
yes,
billion,
so
a billion.
the higher the electromagnetic frequency, the
Hmm.
more damage it causes to the cell. Higher frequency radar around 2.45 gigahertz. We're talking about billion of hertz, and now
Hmm.
higher are used by 5G cell phones and
Hmm.
Wi-Fi routers. And this high frequency can cook popcorn and eggs. So you just can imagine
Wow.
how intense this electricity, this electromagnetic frequency is.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
according to, did you have anything that you want to say?
No, keep going, Dr. Joyce.
So according to the 2015 report from Information and Communications Technology, that's ICT, in 2020, cell phones were expected to reach 6 billion people around the world. They
Whoa.
are more available than internet, landlines, and even running or tap water in certain parts of the world. People have cell phones in certain parts of the world that do not have running water or tap water.
Isn't that crazy? It's hard to even believe that that could be a fact, right? Like, that's
Yes,
amazing.
yes. So, a person by the name of Nikola Tesla
Hmm.
found the alternating current, AC electricity. So now we have on the scene AC electricity in
Hmm.
the late 1800s. He discovered that alternating current, AC, is pulsed and moves in two directions. So now remember, with direct current, it was just one direction and it
Right.
wasn't pulsed. With alternating current, AC, it's pulsed and it moves in two different directions. It
Okay.
switches between AC to DC in these directions and can travel greater distance than direct current DC without significant reduction in voltage, which is
Mm.
the pressure of electricity. So,
Wow.
as a result of the alternating current being used going in two directions, we have what's produced as dirty electricity. And it's a type of electromagnetic frequency that is harmful to your health. It is a pulsed high frequency voltage that occurs whenever alternating current, AC,
Mhm.
electricity that runs along power lines and is manipulated into direct current and alternating current electricity. Dirty electricity has a high frequency that can range anywhere from 2000 hertz, 2 kilohertz, to 100,000 hertz, which is 100 kilohertz. It can connect to your body and cause biological damage. So we see that now we have, with the introduction by Nikola Tesla of the
Mhm.
alternating current, that runs alongside the direct current, which is a natural current that flows through the earth and our human bodies. We
Mm-hmm.
have the potential of having harm done to our body, and this is called dirty electricity.
Dirty electricity. And so, thinking about that, so you've got these currents now that were flowing to essentially together and kind of in the same direction,
Yes.
one stream, the earth and the body working kind of together. Now
Yeah.
you've introduced another current that was created in the way, or not created, but the way that it was recognized that it ran opposite and in multiple directions, which I'm thinking about, now I'm like this, I'm clashing. Things are clashing and causing disruption. Mm. That's what, it's interesting that you see or hear about this type of thing. I never had thought about it. I do remember, you had mentioned in 2015 when the study had came out that ICT had put out about um, the frequency. Thinking about, I remember, and this might have been a little before 2015. I remember when the IG phone, or not IG, but the oh my goodness, Dr. Joyce, why am I losing my track of my thought right now? But the 5G phones, when the 5G phones were coming out, I remember starting to hear that there was, and this is probably where it stemmed from, was that magnetic activity or frequency was going to be increasing, and it was going to start to have impacts on the health of people that
Yeah.
you didn't think in ways that you wouldn't think that it would. So yeah, so okay, yeah, I see you getting ready to get into
So
these different types and both of the uses.
So this was all the result of someone, Tesla, introducing the alternating current. And of course, with going in two directions, he said that could last longer and increase the electrical voltage.
Mm.
And so as a result of that, we have what's called dirty electricity. And dirty electricity is a type of EMF that causes both DC and AC electricity. And so the common sources of dirty electricity, of course, the cordless phones, cell phone chargers, Wi-Fi routers, computers and laptops, printers, most energy efficient appliances, and furnaces. And we always think about energy efficient appliances be better than non-energy efficiency appliances and furnaces. Then you have the smart utility meters and smart appliances. All of these produce dirty electricity. Baby monitors, televisions, especially the smart televisions,
Mm-hmm.
solar panels, inverters. So you having these solar panels installed, especially on your home. But if you have them away from your home in the field, that would be better. It wouldn't be just directly on top of your home, because here you're having dirty electricity that can damage your cells. Cell phone towers, most convert AC voltage from the electric grid into DC voltage. And so now we see that these cell phone towers, they do use electricity, and they emit tons of dirty electricity.
Ooh, okay. Okay. So
So
that's a whole lot of things. When you look at that list, there's a whole lot of things that are impacted. When you just walk through your home, there's a lot of things in there that
yeah,
was on that list.
exactly. Exactly. And it's good to be aware of this, just
Yeah.
to be aware of this, because there are things that you can do to sort of help cut down. You can't totally just get rid of all of the EMFs, but you can lower your
Yeah.
EMFs by changing your lifestyle.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so the two major groups now. So now we know we have electromagnetic frequency electromagnetic frequency producing radiation.
Okay.
The two major groups are the ionizing radiation and the non-ionizing radiation. Most people know about ionizing radiation through x-rays, whether you're having dental x-rays or medical x-rays or CT scans, or even someone who's being treated with gamma rays for some type of tumor. They heard that this is ionizing radiation, and it's the most penetrating type. It uses a high frequency with a very short wavelength. So as enough energy, so the ionizing radiation actually has enough energy to pass through every cell in the body and disrupt the structure of an atom by knocking off one or more of the tightly bonded electrons, creating ions called hydroxyl free radicals. Now, we did a whole sequence on radicals, free radicals and antioxidants. Free radicals being the bad guys, antioxidants being the good guys who can share ions with the free radicals or the bad guys. So you might want to go back and listen to Miss Michelle's one of the sequence that we did on free radicals and antioxidants to get a better understanding of that, or purchase the book Nutrition and Wellness, Purple Mind Nutrition and Wellness. And of course, we know that with ionizing radiation, what happens is they use something, Miss Michelle, they use an element that's called tungsten. Now, tungsten has a very, 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 very high melting point. So what they do is they use electricity to heat this tungsten up to a very, very high temperature. And then with that X-ray machine and beam, they can focus on the area that they want to examine. Say, for instance, if they want to examine your arm, they can focus that high, that X-ray beam to go right through your arm. And what it does is it penetrates right through the arm. And when it's penetrating through that particular site in the body, it causes the atoms of the ions of that atom to be knocked off. And so it casts a film for the radiologist to read. They have special digital films now, but it used to be where they were made out of certain material so that they could capture those ions that were being cast off of the person's body, and it forms an image. So this of course we know is harmful. It's ionizing radiation, and it causes the hydroxyl free radicals. And what the hydroxyl free radicals will do is they will damage the cell membrane in any organs within the cytoplasm, especially the mitochondria, the nuclear membrane. And we know once it gets into the nucleus where the DNA is and it damages DNA, that's where it can have adverse effects such as genetic damage. It can lead to cell death or cancer. And usually the cancers take 10 or more years to manifest. So when you go in to have an x-ray done, whether it's dental or medical, and if they're going to x-ray your hand, say, for instance, you can ask for that protective apron, which is lead, which stops or attenuate the x-ray beam. So that's why they use the aprons to protect the body from ionizing radiation. So this is the ionizing radiation is one of the two major groups. And we know and we've heard that, it can cause damage, but we always look at the risk over the benefit. So if you want to rule out a fracture, you have an x-ray done. If you want to rule out a tumor, you have an x-ray done. You try to protect the body by using the lead apron.
Ah, okay. You know what? That's good to know, because you know what I always think about. They do put that on. I had a dental appointment not long ago, and you get the X-rays, and they put that, and you always kind of wonder, and they say, oh, this is because we're taking X-rays today, so you get the apron,
Right.
but now understanding that, oh, this even what you're looking at is gonna be impacted, but they cover up all that they're not looking at the time.
Yes.
um
Exactly.
for that X-ray. Wow.
Right. So the second major group is the non-ionizing radiation. Now, in the non-ionizing radiation, we have natural sources. And the natural sources like sunshine, natural infrared light, which is part of the sunshine. All these two are important for good health. And I don't have to get into sunlight and talk about vitamin D, because I think we also talked about the importance of vitamin D for the health of the body. And
Yes.
also natural infrared light, which is emitted by the sun. And it has benefits. It has several healthy benefits. Now, this is the natural, not the man-made, because there is a man-made infrared light. But the natural infrared light, which is part of the energy that's being emitted from the sun, supports your skin, again, your health, promotes wound healing, reduces inflammation, promotes the body's natural healing, releases pain in the muscles, joint, and it's helpful for chronic pain conditions. It also improves in circulation, which is crucial for delivering oxygen and nutrients to the cells and tissues. And these two, non-ionizing radiation, your sunlight and the natural infrared light, both support overall health. And it also regulates your circadian rhythm. That's your sleep rhythm. And it may improve brain health and boost the mitochondrial function. So we see that the non-ionizing radiation, the natural source of it, is very, very good for maintaining health.
Yeah.
Okay, but now the non-ionizing radiations that are man-made, the 5G, cell phones, Wi-Fi, and other wireless devices. They start out using the lower EMF of 27 million hertz. Then they quickly grew to 900 million hertz, then to 2.4 billion hertz. Now it's up to 5.8 billion hertz. So, and what do we say about frequency? The higher the frequency, the more damage that it does to the cells. So the incredible popularity of the 5G cell phones and all the other wireless devices, your laptops, your tablets, your iPads, meant the biggest introduction of harmful high voltage EMFs to the heart, the brain, and the reproductive system. So why do I say those three systems? And that's because the heart, the brain, and the reproductive system contains the largest amount of calcium. So when we're talking about non-ionizing radiation, even though it's not the fast penetrating, the ionizing, these are harmful to the cell. We call these like the boogeyman to the cell, because they're invisible, they're odorless, there's no way to detect them, but they're causing harm to your cell. The closer you keep them to your body, and the longer they are close to your body, they can cause cell damage. And again, we go back to what? Cell phone.
Yeah.
Cell damage. And
Did I go too quickly?
Oh, and so of course, I think I've mentioned that. So we're good. We're good for the next.
Okay.
Okay, so EMFs and calcium. And again, the heart, the brain, and the reproductive system have a higher concentration of calcium to regulate their function. Calcium is the most abundant mineral in your body. It makes up about 2% of your body. And it is in 98%. 98% of calcium is used to keep your bones and teeth strong. Calcium is also important for cell signaling and chemical messengers. In other words, the cells communicate with one another through this calcium. It
Okay.
regulates your enzymes and protein functions. It's used for muscle contractions, blood,
Mhm.
nerve function, and cell growth. It's also important in learning and memory. So, exposure to 5G cell phones, Wi-Fi, and other wireless devices, what they do is they actually disrupt the cells. Have what you call a channel devices. Each cell will have these voltage graded channel blockers. In other words, there's supposed to be more calcium, like 20,000 to 100,000 more calcium outside of the cell than inside of the cell.
Mm.
But what the wireless devices do, that EMF from the non-ionizing radiation of the wireless devices, they disrupt those gates, those channel gates, and they allow millions of molecules and different compounds to flush into the cells, to get into the cells, inside of the cells. And once they get inside of the cells, they create free radicals.
Oh.
And the free radicals that are caused by these, the other thing is they stay longer. Now, remember what we said about ionizing radiation? It just passes through.
Yeah.
But with these cordless wireless devices, 5G devices, once they get into the cell, they move back and forth, doing damage, destroying, causing damage to the DNA. They stay there longer, are more allowed to get into the cells because they disrupt the channel, the calcium channel blockers. So they get into the cell and they do more damage.
Mm. So, Dr. Joyce, so thinking about that, and you'll probably get into this a little bit later. So, if you do, you just tell me just to hold on tight. But it makes me think of the proximity that we are to our cell phones or your laptop computer or devices that we hold in our hand, and things like that. So, it causes for a bit of, curiosity around, how is this impacting me?
Yeah.
How much is it impacting me?
Yes, and I think that that's a very good statement, because now with this information, you'll know that, like I said, they're like boogeymen. Then the damage is invisible, odorless. You can't smell it, you can't see it, you can't feel it. But
Mhm.
all at the same time, what they're doing is damaging three of our major organs: the brain, the heart, and the reproductive system, because they contain calcium. And what the 5G wireless tablets, iPads, these devices do is that they damage the cell, allowing more calcium into the cells. And these free radicals, they stay longer than the penetrating x-rays that just move in and out, and they produce more damage to the cells. And so the closer we have them to our bodies, the longer
Mhm.
we have them to the body, then the more damage they can do to our cells.
Okay. All
So
right.
go ahead, Miss Michelle.
No, I was just gonna say I'm looking at your list here. I know you're about to get into this, so I'll wait. But yeah, like what is it? What is actually happening to us? What are some of those adverse health effects?
Okay, so from this increased calcium that produces free radicals, and we know that free radicals are the bad guys. They steal electrons from other cells, and as a result of that, they cause numerous adverse health effects. Inflammation is because there's so many of these free radicals, and they stay longer, like I said, inside of the cell, damaging your DNA, damaging all of the other vital organs in the cell. Cardiovascular disease, and that's induced by stress. So now the person may have a heart arrhythmia from these devices. Neurodegenerative disease. Have you noticed that more people have Alzheimer's disease than years ago? Psychiatric disease, anxiety, depression, ADHD, both in children and adult, autism, diabetes, type 2 and adult onset, and then more than 60 chronic diseases, and declining fertility. And that has exploded in the past 2 decades. The other thing is that some people will say they have pain in their skin, and that's because these wireless devices, they penetrate millimeters under the skin when you're holding them or wearing them on your arm, or if you wear the glasses or whatever devices, these wireless devices that they have created. It penetrates the nerves in the skin as well as the sweat glands in the skin, causing pain and burning sensation. Some people say they just have pain and burning sensation in the skin, and that's from exposure to the EMFs from these wireless devices. Eye problems, cataracts, suppressed immune function, and increased antibiotic resistance to bacteria. All of these, this is just a plethora of conditions resulting from exposure to the EMFs of wireless devices.
Wow, that's a list, Dr. Joyce.
Yes. So children's brains are particularly at risk of damage from cell phones, and that's because the EMF radiation, electromagnetic frequency radiation from cell phones penetrate more deeply into the kids' brains than into those of adults. Children's skulls are thinner and their heads are smaller than adults, which means more radiation is able to penetrate into their skull. The children's brains are still developing, so they have more water than fat, and less myelin tissues in their brains than adults. And this is water is more susceptible to radiation absorption than fat and the other structures. And they say their ears are smaller. So when when they use cell phones, the devices are closer to their skull. As of 2018, researchers theorized that EMF-related ADHD and autism in children is a result of damage to the DNA and changes to gene expressions. This was research that they did, and they found out that attention deficit hyperactivity disorders and autism in children is related to damage from these EMF devices to the DNA, and it changes the gene expression. Also, EMFs cause damage to the stem cells, which in children can impair brain development in a way that likely contributes to autism.
Oh, wow. Wow, wow, wow.
So the EMF exposure starts in utero. Women with higher exposures to the wireless devices have a 2.72 times the risk of miscarrying, and their babies had a higher risk of having asthma, being obese, suffering from thyroid problems, as well as behavioral and attention challenges.
Mm.
A 2010 German study showed that children who had the highest level of exposure, their and this is exposure in utero, their behavior were similar to kids who had been diagnosed with attention deficit hyperactivity disorder, ADHD, with symptoms such as uncontrollable behavior, memory loss, brain fog, difficulty focusing, and blunt learning abilities.
Oh, wow. 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 That's a lot, Dr. Joyce.
Yes, yes. And
That's a lot.
so the shield of protection against electromagnetic frequency, wisdom words, Matthews 16:19. And I will give you the keys of the kingdom of heaven, and whatever you bind on earth will be bound in heaven, and whatever you loose on earth will be loosed in heaven. Ephesians 6:10 through 18, it describes the spiritual armor believers are to
Mhm.
put on to stand against the schemes of the devils. For we know we don't wrestle against flesh and blood, but it's
Yeah.
against principalities and spiritual
Yeah.
wickedness in heavenly places. So we as Christians need to put on the whole armor of God. Leviticus 17:11, New King James Version, for the life of the flesh is in the blood. Now, I just want to note that in the Purple Mind Shield of Protection, I have a
Mhm.
wonderful list of keys, the keys of the kingdom that God has given us, the name of the strong man, including diabolical frequencies that we can bind here on earth that are bound in heaven.
All right. That is so good. Dr. Joyce, and we are, oh my goodness, this is so good. This is so good. Everything that you have shared today. And I'm looking at, I'm like, we never have enough time. We never have enough time. We just don't have enough time. But Dr. Joyce, before we as we wrap up for today, and I know that we're going to talk about this even further. So that you make sure that you stay tuned in, because this is just a whetting your appetite for what's to come. Dr. Joyce, as you were doing your study and preparing, just to ensure that people really know what is coming into the body. Because a lot of times we think of our food, we think of physically being hurt, but like you said, we've got a boogeyman that's out there.
Yes,
We
yes.
really do. We really do. Oh my goodness. Oh my goodness, Dr. Joyce. I know that oh man, I was looking. This is, you want to save this for next time, or are you
Yeah, we can save the the normal human for the next time, and maybe just mention the books, the references.
yes,
I think
let's see. They
and we'll save
in.
the DNA for the next time. And these are
Okay.
the references because I know from the comments and
Mhm.
from the different things from the viewers that they'd like to know where to go to get more information. I do highly recommend Dr. Joseph Mercola. He has done a lot of research. He is a naturopathic doctor, and the name of his book is EMFD, 5G, Wi-Fi, and cell phones, hidden harms, and how to protect yourself. And there are two other books, EMF Practical Guides by Lord Burrell, Overpowered by Martin Blank, Dr. Martin Blank. And then there's a lady by the name of Deborah Davis, Dr. Deborah Davis, Disconnect, the truth about cell phone radiation, what the industry is doing to hide it, and how to protect your family. These are references that you can go and read and get more information about EM.
EMF.
And
Yeah.
there are websites too that are listed, Mercola.com, and his name is spelled MERCOLA.com, and electricsense.com.
And we will include all of the reference information in the link in the description. I'll be able to get it to you. So if you're listening online, you've got the MERCOLA.com and Electric Sense, like having a sense of smell. Electricsense.com is another one. So if you are listening, those are the websites, but we will also, if you want to check out the lab in the description, the link is in the description for you to be able to get access to these resources. And don't forget, there's the purplemindbook.com has Dr. Joyce's resources. The Purple Mind Shield of Protection book talks a lot about the electromagnetic frequencies, those EMFs, so that you can make yourself more familiar with what they are and the potential harm that it emits, so that you can make yourself and those around you healthy in 2025. Dr. Joyce, I always love it when you're on. You always come power packed and full of all of the things that we need to know, and you always share something that we don't. So I appreciate you and so glad to have you on today.
Thank you.
Thank you. Well, all right, listening audience, make sure you guys tune in the third Friday of each month. Dr. Joyce Moore comes to make healthy happen in 2025 and beyond, and in ways beyond just our nutrition and wellness. She's helping us with everything, you all. So, Dr. Joyce, thank you again for being on. Don't forget, if you haven't already, hit the subscribe button so you get a new episode every week. And then also, don't forget, if you have comments or you've got questions, send them in to us. Dr. Joyce would love to answer them for you here on the air. So we are so glad to have you here today. Thank you so much for tuning in, and we look forward to seeing you next week. Have a good day, everybody.